10:30. We'll stick on the ice at 10:45. Randy Girsch, the Blues vice president and executive director of the Blues for Kids, he will join me and talk about, a big event they've got going on this week, but also just how much the Blues have been at the forefront of youth hockey and specifically girls youth hockey and how that's really become much more of a priority. And it's growing, and it's been huge. So we'll talk to him at 10:45. Second hour of the show, we'll get into St. Louis City SC. They come up with a big win last night over Nashville, 3-1. Lutz Pfannenstiel will join us here on the program, and we'll get to talk to him following the win last night. Again, a really nice one last night at Energizer Park. John Mozeliak, the current president of baseball operations for the Redbirds, for the Cards, will join us in his regular spot. He'll be with us at 11:30. And we can talk to him about lots, of course, Yachty back in the dugout. So we'll get into that as well at 10:15. And then Bernie Miklasz will finish us off at 11:45, as he regularly does. And we can talk to him about all things going on here with the Cards, with City, with sports in general. And we'll get into all of that as we go along here. It is Sports on a Sunday Morning here on a Sunday morning from KMOX. Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman in the Stiefel Sports Studio. Take a break here. We'll come back. We'll get into a little bit about what we saw and what we have been seeing from the Cardinals. And as I said, this series with the Cubs, kind of a microcosm of what this season has been for the Redbirds. That's next as Sports on a Sunday Morning continues right here on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Hi, I'm Uzo Aduba, and right now, medical information is not regularly being shared within the research community, but you can help change that. Patients can help accelerate research by sharing their information and unique experience.
Everyone's experience with cancer matters, including my own.
If you're a cancer patient in the U.S. and its territories or Canada, you may be able to play a part in accelerating cancer research and uncovering new breakthroughs simply by sharing your patient data with researchers around the world.
My unique experience can make the difference of life and death to some of the people in my community.
It is in our stories and data that the answers can be found.
Join Stand Up to Cancer, Count Me In, and thousands of patients like Maeve, Bridget, and Joel in this movement.
For our family.
For our friends.
For us all.
The information is out there. Together we can unlock it. Join in at standuptocancer.org/countmein.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at STLouisUnionStation.com. That's STLouisUnionStation.com.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stiefel Financial Sports Studio.
Back in on the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio. Joe Pott with you, in for Tom Ackerman this morning as we get things going here on Sports on a Sunday morning. And as I mentioned, just a kind of a microcosm of what this Cards season has been. The first 2 days in this Cubs series, they had a great one on Friday night. And it really was one of those games where kind of all facets were clicking for the team on Friday. You got a great start from Michael McGreevy. They were doing some of the little things. You saw a little small ball going on from the Cards, a couple of big clutch hits when they needed it. It was exactly the opposite last night for the Redbirds. It was a terrible start from Andre Pallante. He said after the game that it may have been one of his worst starts of his career, and I think a lot of folks would agree with that. He just didn't have the command, the control, anything working last night. He ends up going just an inning and 2/3. It got started real early. He gave up a leadoff double to Michael Busch, who would score 2 batters later on a hit by Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker comes in to score on a really weird play. It was a base hit by Carson Kelly. The relay throw from Jordan Walker to Wilson Contreras gets under Contreras, and if you watch it, it looks like Contreras didn't even realize that he missed it. It goes under his legs. It's behind him. And as it's rolling behind him, Kyle Tucker comes around to score. It allows Kelly to go to second base. It was just one of those sort of like little league-like plays. And again, not something that we've seen a lot of from Wilson Contreras because he's been a really good fielder at first base. Now I get it. That's not necessarily fielding right there. And the error did go on Jordan Walker. I think it was a little bit harsh. I think it could have probably gone on Wilson Contreras. But I just don't even think that he realized that that ball had gotten under him. It kind of sank at the last minute. But that's how the game got started. So you get 2 runs there in the first inning. Then a couple of one-out hits or one-out base runners. Dansby Swanson gets on with a hit. Matt Shaw walks in that second inning. And then it just got worse from there as they get back to the top of the lineup and Michael Busch.
There's Michael Busch, 1 out of 1, 1 out of 5 in the series.
That's who he's talking with right now is Dusty Blake.
Here's a swing and a long drive to right field. That ball is out of here. Busch has a double, a home run, and the Cubs lead 5-0 in the second inning.
They scored another in the second inning to make it 6-0. Matt Shaw has an RBI triple in the third inning. That's after they had 2 outs in the inning. They had already ditched Andre Pallante an inning and 2/3, so it's Gordon Graceffo in. He retires the first 2 hitters in that third inning before Dansby Swanson singles. Matt Shaw hits the RBI triple to add to the lead, and it just kept going from there. They pick up a run in the fourth inning on an RBI base hit by Ian Happ, the Cardinal killer, and then it's Matt Shaw again in the fifth inning, and Shaw comes up with 1 out. This time he's facing Ryan Fernandez.
There's a swing and a long drive to left field. That's out of here for Shaw. He has a walk, a triple, now a home run in this game, his 8th home run of the year. 9-0 Cubs as they're pouring it on the Cardinals tonight.
They were indeed. Let me tell you, too, that home run was just an absolute line shot off the bat of Shaw. It came off at 103 off the bat. Also at a launch angle of 27 degrees. That is a low line drive, just the definition of a laser beam from home plate out into left field. That's what it did. That's what it was, for Shaw. So that puts the Cubs up 9-0 at the time. The Cardinals would eventually get on the board. Lars Nootbaar with a leadoff double in the 6th inning. This came against the starter, Colin Ray. It was really the only time he had any kind of hiccup in this game. A leadoff double for him, 2 outs. Nootbaar's on at third, and it's Alec Burleson. I should say 1 out. Alec Burleson coming up.
With 1 out and a runner at third, Burleson taps it up the first base line. It's going to score a run. Busch steps on first, and Nootbaar crosses the plate, and the Cardinals trail 9-1.
So they get on the board there, but that was really it for the Redbirds. They had a runner on a couple of times. They had 2 runners on in the 8th. They got a couple of runners on in the 9th inning. Joel Pozo reaches on an error, although I think it should have been called a base hit, but it was called an error, so they had 2 on there. But they just can't do much of anything. Colin Ray goes 6 innings, gives up just a run. He strikes out 6. I was on the pregame show yesterday talking about how we're probably not going to see a bunch of strikeouts because both Colin Ray and Andre Pallante have low strikeout percentages, but here we are And Colin Ray ends up with 6 strikeouts yesterday. Just kind of, again, dominating the Cardinals on one night after they had a really good offensive game. They had a really good game all the way around. John Rooney mentioned it. If you heard the recap, it was 13-7 hits in favor of the Cards on Friday. It was 13-7 hits in favor of the Cubs on Saturday night. So it is what I have said so many times about this team, that when they're good, they can be good. They have the ability to be a good team and to be a good offensive team. They can be relentless when they get going and when they really get to doing what they do well. You can see signs of it. You can see flashes of what this team is, but it is the inability to do it for extended periods. Save for that stretch in May where they really played well, we haven't seen the consistent performance, and that goes for the offense, that goes for the rotation. That is part of A, having a young team, and I think B, not having that superstar, not having, whether it is a lights out number one ace on the mound or a superstar slugger in the middle of this order. They don't have either of those things. You had an all-star closer, which obviously you dealt at the deadline. He gave up a big home run last night, by the way, to William Contreras as the Brewers won their 8th in a row. So it is that lack of consistency, I think, that has severely limited what we've been able to, or what we have seen from this team for any extended period of time. So they'll take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, whatever that looks like, whatever cliche you care to use. That is what has separated this team from being a good team, and a team that maybe in May we thought they could be, because it looked like maybe they were going to put it together, and even forget May, all the way to June 29th. That's when they had swept the Guardians in that series, if you recall. They were 9 games over 500. They were 2.5 games out of the division, and then things went south from there. They got swept by the Pirates. They got shut out all 3 games by the Pirates. Then they go into that Cubs series. They didn't do well in the Cubs series. They were essentially shut out for a couple of games in the Cubs series. So that is what we've seen all season long, and that's what this series sort of has been just a taste of. Kelly's on the comments. I appreciate your comments talking about Andre Palante. Of course, says the Cards are good when the starting is good. That's been the case for most of the year, that they are good when the starting pitching has been good. But again, it has not been anything consistent. We've even seen, obviously, their ace, Sonny Gray, really struggle specifically with the warmer weather, which is not just a this year thing. That's a career. That's been a plague of his career. And he goes tonight, by the way, as the Cards and the Cubs finish off this series. He goes against Shota Imanaga tonight in the Sunday night game. Now, maybe it'll be a little bit better since it's a night game. It's not the heat of the day. But again, he has really struggled. Now, he was really good against LA his last time out. So perhaps he has turned the corner in August. The arrival of August will be good for Sonny Gray. But even with that, they haven't had the starting pitching consistently. And so if that's the marker you're looking at, okay, they're better when the starting pitching is good. Well, unfortunately, the starting pitching hasn't been good on a consistent basis. And I think that's just the biggest theme that I keep coming back to, that I keep looking at with this young team and with a team that severely lacks any kind of a superstar. Now, the other side of that is get to the end of October, the end of this season, and we'll start to see a little bit more of what it is going to look like, what this organization is going to look like under Chaim Bloom. Meanwhile, it's John Mozeliak. John will join us coming up at the in the 11:30 at 11:30 in the second hour of the show. But we've seen a little bit of what the Cardinals are trying to do, or going to be trying to do, under Chaim Bloom. I referenced this last night on the post-game show, but Derek Gould had a nice piece, a notebook piece, right about game time yesterday, if you see that. And they talk about Jorge Alcala, who will join the team. We expect a transaction at some point today that he'll be activated. Somebody will be sent down. A reliever will be sent down. And if you look at the raw numbers, he's got a 6+ ERA. it's about more than that. And I'll ask John Mozeliak about this as well, but it's about more than just those raw numbers. They have liked some things they see in Jorge Alcala, who has pitched with the Twins and the Red Sox this season. And they feel like they can develop the best parts of what he has shown. And they feel like that will be a benefit to him and a benefit ultimately to this Cardinals bullpen. And when I referenced Derek's article, the reason is because it kind of points to maybe a philosophy right now is that they're just kind of stockpiling some arms and stockpiling some folks that they believe have some traits, have some skills, have some things that they are looking for that perhaps just need to be parsed out a little bit, need to be developed a little bit more. And Alcala is an example of someone like that they feel like with some work and with some of the Cardinals development staff that he can become a very useful part of this bullpen. But right now, part of what they're doing is just acquiring quantity. So yes, they're looking for the quality and they find the quality, some of the quality traits in some of these guys, but they're also just looking for quantity to backfill ultimately the bullpen, which then of course will help the rotation just to literally have arms. And that's one of the things that they're doing right now. And it's one of the things that they have made a priority. They've made a couple of waiver claims here recently. The other one is currently in AAA. Name escapes me right now, but they've acquired a couple of arms just for the quantity portion of that. But they do feel like Alcala will be a good addition to this relief corps, maybe with a couple of development tweaks, a couple of tweaks from their staff, not just big league, but their pitching staff up and down the development organization. We should see him today. And again, there'll be a corresponding move. I don't know. You could see Graceffo go back down, perhaps. He pitched 2 1/3 innings last night. He was only okay, wasn't sharp. Ryan Fernandez was really good last night, just gave up that home run that you heard from Matt Shaw, but he struck out 4. The Cardinals didn't have a strikeout in the game until Fernandez came in, and Fernandez ended up striking out 4. Roddery Munoz had 2 strikeouts yesterday. He was really good as well, had a walk in 2 innings of work. So the bullpen, for the most part, has been good. It's been a bright spot, I would say, here lately. But other than that, again, it's been inconsistent. VIP Pat, aka Smooth Sully, if I can get that out. He said Cardinals are a best of 500 team. One glaring weakness for several years, starting pitching. Well, he said the fans are showing their, I guess that means displeasure. Yes, displeasure with the team by staying home. They are certainly, I will tell you, it felt good to be back in a full Busch Stadium last night. There was a lot of blue in that crowd last night, but they announced over 40,000, which was only the 4th time this year that they have announced over 40,000. One of those being opening day, the other 2 coming in the Dodgers series. So you have a Cubs game, 2 Dodgers games, and opening day that they've had better than 40,000 in the ballpark. So it did at least sort of feel like old times with that crowd, but I certainly understand what Smooth Sully is getting at when he said the fans are showing their displeasure. And again, I would just say, let's wait and see what's in store, because it could be, I just don't know yet. It could be a completely different. I mean, we're seeing, as I said, some signs of what it's going to be. You've seen it with the draft and what the Cardinals prioritized in the draft, which is swing and miss stuff, power arms. That is different from what we have seen previously and what the Cardinals have appeared to prioritize previously. But I think we wait and see kind of what happens. And are there moves in the offseason? We know there's going to be moves in the offseason. What are those moves in the offseason? Do they move some of the pieces off their major league roster? Are they able to acquire perhaps maybe not a superstar, maybe a little higher caliber star, some more thump in that lineup, maybe from the right-hand side? I don't know. All of those things I think are going to be answered as we get into this offseason, but certainly understand what Smooth Sully is getting at. Thanks for all the comments. We'll keep things going here on Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Matt Farrell. He's the CEO of U.S. Figure Skating. He's with Tom Ackerman, and the championships are coming up here to St. Louis. They are coming to Enterprise Center in January. So we'll hear Tom Ackerman with Matt Farrell. On the other side of the break, I'm Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman. It's Sports on a Sunday morning here on KMOX.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Did you know that McKelvey builds custom homes on individual sites throughout the metropolitan area? We have sites in prime locations from Rock Hill to Wildwood, including several in the coveted Ladue School District. Experience why many have chosen McKelvey Homes with our legendary quality and personalized service to build their dream home. Visit our newly completed Turnberry at 19 Beaver Drive, just north of Ladue and east of Lindbergh. It is loaded with features and now open. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
This segment, Cancer Center Spotlight, how innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Dr. John DePercio.
Patients have come here from all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world to get evaluated and treated for this treatment. We hope that this can be continued, that we demonstrate in a clinical trial that it's safe and effective, and that ultimately it will be approved by the FDA so it's available to everyone in the world.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back to KMOX. It is just about that time when the Olympics will be in Milan. 2026 Winter Olympic Games. I know it's summer, but it is approaching quickly because January 5th through the 11th, 2026 at Enterprise Center and Centene Community Ice Center is the U.S. Figure Skating Championships right here in St. Louis. And joining us in studio is U.S. Figure Skating CEO Matt Farrell. Matt, it's great to have you in St. Louis.
Awesome. It's great to be back here.
It's good. I know you're familiar with us. Everybody knows us as a baseball town, and I know you have some baseball in your background, but also just in general as a sports town. What is your impression of St. Louis?
Well, I tell people in the Sports Commission of how widely regarded and highly regarded the Sports Commission is here in St. Louis. Nationally, it's known. It's always on that short list of best sports commissions. And just the way this community is embraced, not just, baseball and other sports, but Olympic sports, NCAA sports, golf. Yeah, as you know, the figure skating national championships were here in 2006. And so this is just an absolute hub for us in the sport, and we couldn't be more excited to be back.
It is a very prestigious event. The champions are crowned in women's, men's, pairs, ice dance events across the championship and junior levels, plus novice pairs and ice dance. This is the qualification event for the Winter Olympics. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this.
This is the crown jewel of events for figure skating. The Winter Olympics in Milan, Cortina come up in February. So everybody's going to step on the ice here in St. Louis, and all roads have to go through St. Louis to get to Milan. And it's just going to be absolute packed. And if you look at the history of the sport of figure skating, like some of the most common household names you've ever heard in Olympic, history of Peggy Fleming and Dorothy Hamill, Brian Boitano, Christy Yamaguchi, Michelle Kwan. That's the level of what you're going to see here of who are going to be those really next icons of the sport.
Why do you think it is so popular, particularly on TV? It always draws well, just as gymnastics does during the summer.
I think there's something to it where the blend of athleticism and artistry, and this may seem like a small thing, but in other sports, you don't see the faces as much. Even comparison to a football or some other sports where you just really feel like you know the person and it feels intimate. And whether you go to the event and just see how phenomenal the skills are, but these people and these skaters are so good at what they do artistically, athletically, that you just can immediately relate to them.
And I should add USA Swimming, because you were the CMO there for 13 years. Another, just as you said, popular sport. We get to know the people, we see them, we sort of get attached to them and rally for them.
Yeah, it's the Olympics is just like something you've never seen. And, the television aspect in Paris in 2024 was just this revitalization of the Olympic movement. And the storytelling and the people and the personalities are so relatable that it's easy to kind of fall in love, whether it's a swimmer or a bobsled athlete or speed skater or figure skater. And I think that's what still that magic and that uniqueness of the Olympics is still there and makes it so special.
This is Matt Farrell, the CEO of U.S. Figure Skating. When I was doing some background research, just trying to prep for this interview, I discovered your podcast. And I saw you. Yeah. Interviewing.
You're a short list.
but that it made me interested. I started to watch some of these because I found it interesting. You were really tapping into different sports, trying to understand it. Probably is very helpful in running U.S. figure skating, because the big thing is you never want to rest, right? You always want to be better, and you want to learn what people think of your product. And that's probably an important part of what you do.
100%. A lot of my career in that podcast in particular was started because I just think I've been asked for years, decades, of what it's like to work in the sports business. How do I work in sports? And I love the NFL. I love the NBA. I love MLB, but there's so many other career opportunities out there to work in sports that are wider than that. And so just like you do on a daily basis, you feel like, okay, where are these really interesting people, interesting jobs, and try to tell those stories. And I think that's the same with figure skating, where how do you make these athletes very relatable and tell those backstories where you start to root for them and in maybe some cases root against, but you just create emotion.
And there has been a lot of emotion in the figure skating world, hasn't there, within the last year?
It's rough. When this event happens in St. Louis, it's going to be coming up of the anniversary of a horrific plane crash that impacted so many people in the figure skating community. They were leaving from this event in Wichita in January of last year. And I came in after that into this role, but you realized how devastating and soul crushing. And the topic still comes up every day of what are we doing for those families? What are we doing for the athletes who want to keep going? And so it will have a little bit of a somber tone to some aspects of the event because it was just so impactful and meaningful to the figure skating community, and it's still hurting and grieving.
I'm certain, and we're so sorry about that. And at the same time, I know this will also be a celebration of sport. You know, people come out to see things that are amazing, or things that people do things that are unique. You know, thinking of Simone Biles being in town not long ago for the gymnastics championships. That's why this is such a big draw, and why it's your only chance if you're in St. Louis to come around. It doesn't come around that often.
Correct. And so, you know, I would tell people, like, here's what you're going to see. Recent world championships, the U.S. won 3 out of 4 gold medals. Alyssa Liu is just this really dynamic personality. And I've just described her. She won the world championship in Boston in March, is just like the grace and beauty of a figure skater mixed with the mind of a snowboarder. And that's not common in figure skating. And she's just so captivating that I think really once the Olympic lead up begins, people are just going to really be drawn and fall in love and cheer for her. And then on the men's side, Ilya Malinin is just this really physical specimen from a jump standpoint, and doing quad jumps, and will just jump out of the ice rink, also coming off a world championship. So there's just so many stars that are stars in figure skating that I think are going to be stars that transcend the sport here in a matter of months.
If you want to check it out, the website is skatestlouis2026.com, skatestlouis2026.com. They already have the all session tickets on sale. September 10th is when single sessions go on sale. And again, different venues here. Enterprise Center is the host of the championship level, but Centene Community Ice Center, which is really nice, it's where the Blues train, also has events.
Yeah, this event is really it's not your typical, golf event or maybe an NCAA event coming here. And I don't say that as better or worse. It's just different, where there's a whole grassroots piece to this as well. And so what we hope is kind of like the inspiration of that, future Olympic team is driving people, whether they're kids or adults, to the ice. And so this event is a nice combination of that, of some grassroots youth and junior events along with an elite competition, which is a nice mix.
You get a good look at what will happen at the Olympics. The 2026 Winter Olympic Games are in Milan next year, but the U.S. Figure Skating Championships and the team that represents America at the Olympics will be selected here in St. Louis. It's January 5th through the 11th at Enterprise Center and Centene Community Ice Center. Single session tickets on sale September 10th, but you can get all sessions and a weekend package now at skatestlouis2026.com. You're drawing people from all over the country coming here, right?
This is a national draw of figure skating fans, people who are going to drive in, fly in. And so it's, it's certainly a national event. And I would say in some respects, it's even a global event because of the fandom across, Japan and Europe. And it's just, it's going to attract such a dynamic and exciting crowd here to St. Louis.
The CEO of U.S. Figure Skating, Matt Farrell, joining us at KMOX. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to be back in January.
Get ready, St. Louis. 2 acclaimed performers will headline a summer finale on the Muni stage Thursday, August 28th. International music icon Diana Ross and multi-Grammy Award-winning artist John Baptiste. And this is your chance to win a premium VIP experience to see the show. VIP includes a pair of box seats, a pair of VIP pre-party tickets, free drinks at the intermission bar, and a free parking pass. Register now online at KMOX.com/contest for your chance to win.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, RetireSafe.STL.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to work with a financial advisor? Are you in your 50s or early 60s and really haven't talked to anybody about how you retire? Give me a call today. Check out our website, RetireSafe.STL.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. So this is August, and that is Pet Appreciation Month for Zero Res. We love our pets. I love my pets. They are a part of the family, no doubt about it. But the rest of my family doesn't poop and pee on the carpeting. Well, Nick sometimes. So if you're having that same sort of trouble with your pets that I do, just reach out to Zero Res, because the deal this month is 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, 15% off your pet odor treatments, and $50 off your air duct cleaning. They are going to be on time. They're going to be accurate with their bids. They are going to be compassionate. They're going to be professional. They're going to work their tails off, and they have the 30-day gotta love it guarantee, which means if they don't blow you away, have them back. 314-474-2020, or you can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
It's the annual KMOX blood drive with the American Red Cross, August 21st from 2 to 7 at multiple locations. Everyone who attempts to donate receives a $15 e-gift card. Make an appointment in the Red Cross Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org and enter KMOX for a drive near you.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
In on the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman this morning in the Stifel Sports Studio, and it is my pleasure to be joined by Randy Girsch, Blues Vice President and the head of the community relations with the Blues. And you've got a huge event right now, actually finishing up, and you've got a tournament championship to get to. But I appreciate you taking some time this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been an exciting weekend for us here at Centene Community Ice Center.
So this weekend, what is going on? If people aren't aware, it's the inaugural U12 Icebreaker Tournament. It is the girls' U12 Icebreaker Tournament, wrapping up today with the championship. How has it gone? How is the what's it been like out there at Centene?
Oh, it's been incredible. It's the start of the youth hockey season all across the country, and we're excited to host the first ever 12U Girls Tier 1 Ice Hockey Invitational, and we have girls from all over the country. We have from California, Arizona, Milwaukee, Carolina, St. Louis. It's just been exciting to see all these girls enter AAA hockey and Tier 1 hockey for the first time in their eligibility, and to see it all come together with everything we have planned off the ice with team building and nutrition and breakfast, and then a lot of just fun after. We had a festival yesterday, and 5 Olympic gold medalists from Team USA women's hockey came to speak on the panel, and it's just been a overall great weekend, and really opening the eyes to people across the country about St. Louis and youth hockey and girls hockey specific.
Randy Girsch with us here on Sports on a Sunday Morning. And it is, as you mentioned, it's not just about the games, the tournament. They've played a round robin. They've get a few games in, but there's so much more going on here with some of the folks that are involved, like Alex Cavallini, Hannah Brandt. There's a lot more going on here to support not just girls hockey, but these young girls.
Yeah, it's really great how involved these professional players and these Olympic medalists really get in the girls hockey world. And it's really thanks to them and the growth and how this has been. And they really want to pay it forward and make the experiences for the young girls moving forward just a lot better than they've had it, offering clear paths, a way to go to college and professional. And even if you don't make it to the highest level at the hockey career, what opportunities are there in sports after? And they're really showing these girls that there are opportunities through sport, specifically the sport we all love in ice hockey. And it's really been a great weekend. And the representation that they show just really give these girls something to look up to. Great role models.
And Randy, St. Louis and the Blues specifically have been at the forefront, really, of what is going on in girls hockey. I know there are a couple of big clubs in St. Louis, Afton, Chesterfield, that all have specifically girls leagues, but the Blues have really been a big part of growing the game, the youth game for girls.
Yeah, it's something we planted our flag on back in the All-Star game. The NHL brought in the professional players during the All-Star game to be a big part of what they're doing and showcasing that. And, we made a big statement during that time that we are going to grow girls hockey, and it's grown over 100%. There are now well over 1,200 girls playing in the St. Louis market. And just the growth over that time, it has really been remarkable. And, I'm glad you mentioned some of those clubs. You mentioned Chesterfield, Afton, and there's the St. Louis Lady Cyclones that play at a Centene Community Ice Center. And, it's our job to shine a light on hockey and help get everybody interested. But the growth and the retention in hockey really couldn't be done without those clubs and their great leadership and volunteers and coaches that really handle the day-to-day. And they make it easy for us to, really get the girls interested and involved through our Learn to Play programs that we do on both the all-girls side, and we also have co-ed Little Blues. But once they come through our programs, they go into these clubs and they just have tremendous experiences. And it's all thanks to how much those people who volunteer their time really care.
Randy Girsch is the Blues Vice President and Executive Director of the Blues for Kids. He's with us here on Sports on a Sunday Morning. The fall is fast approaching. That means the start of the regular hockey season and your Blues youth hockey programs getting going. And I know there's still time for folks to sign up for that.
Yeah, we have programs going year round. If any kids want to get involved in playing hockey, both on the boys and girls side, we have them going year round. All they have to do is visit stlouisblues.com/playhockey, and they can learn all about our programs. But like you said, we have much more than youth hockey going. It's the start of the school year. We have so many educational initiatives. We just started a Selly with the Blues program, which teaches kids life skills through interaction in an assembly program in schools. We have Bookworms, which is a reading program where kids reach their goals of reading minutes to win, to actually get rewarded free Blues tickets. And of course, we have all of our events coming up as well. Excited to announce in the upcoming week, Blues and Brews coming back for a third time at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. That'll be Friday, September 19th, and we're excited for that announcement as well.
You said the Blues Selly program. I thought maybe it was a program to teach kids the proper goal celebrations.
That is part of it. There's so many different goal celebrations, and as long as you are setting goals and reaching them, that's what excites us.
Look, I don't think it's any question. I don't think there's any mystery here why the Blues have the support they have when you have been such a community partner. This is much more, as you've talked about, than just bringing folks into St. Louis Blues NHL games. This is really about being a complete community partner, isn't it?
It is. And, it's all about giving back to the people that give so much to us. We understand that sports brings a community together, and, you can high five whoever you want next to you. And they give so much to us in their support and cheering on our team on the ice. And we love to be able to give back to them off the ice and, really bring the excitement of the game to the future fans of the St. Louis Blues, but also the future leaders of St. Louis businesses and through all of our youth programming. And it's just really exciting for us.
How excited are you and the rest of the team? Training camps around the corner. We're going to be talking Blues hockey before we know it.
To me, it's the best part of the year. I'm always obviously a little biased on it, but there's nothing better than fall and hockey and, start of something new for us.
And what does it mean to you, and what does it mean to the staff when you get a chance to, when we're talking about an event like the Icebreaker tournament that's finishing up today at Centene, but when you kind of see that and you can see what the impact that you, your organization, the Blues, have on this community and on those girls?
I was actually thinking about that last night during the festival and that round table, and the amount of parents and coaches and even the 12-year-old players have come up to us just about the experience and how much this means to them. And, you sit back sometimes and you just pinch yourself how lucky you are to be able to do this and represent such a great organization like the St. Louis Blues and an incredible facility like Centene Community Ice Center that we have here. I think we're just so fortunate to be able to do this and really make a difference. These are going to be core memories for these players, but their parents as well, of their first travel tournament and what that experience was for them. It's just unbelievable feeling for all of us involved, and really like to give a shout out to my team, led by Brittany Cook today, who's done an incredible job on executing this tournament, and Sarah Frederick, who planned the entire tournament, and all led by Nick Gay on their team. So really incredible job by them.
Well, Randy Girsch, Blues Vice President, Executive Director of Blues for Kids, congratulations on finishing up this tournament. Thanks for all that you do, not just for girls hockey, but youth hockey, and certainly for the community at large. We appreciate it. I know that's what makes such great partners, and thank you. And thanks for taking some time today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and look forward to seeing everybody in the next couple of weeks at training camp and at a game at Enterprise Center soon.
That was really cool. I appreciated Randy jumping on. It was kind of a little bit of a last-minute thing, so thanks to Randy for doing that, but also thanks to Roger Hacker with the Blues communications staff. He's the one who really kind of made that happen last night. But it is a really cool, not just a cool event that they've got going on this weekend, but the support that the Blues have for the youth hockey scene. You think about the Wickenheiser Cup, which is the high school tournament that they have had such a support with all the time. There's the Blue Note Cup, which is the youth tournaments that my nephews specifically have been involved in. They both have won Blue Note Cup over the last couple of years, and it is so much fun to be out there. I was out at one of those games, one of my nephew's games. You would have thought you were at a minor league game. There was standing room only at Centene Ice Center during those games. There were literally rows of people deep at Centene Ice Center. So really cool. And the Blues obviously at the forefront of being involved in that and being huge community partners. And we know that's why they have such passionate support going the other way and supporting them. One more hour to come here on Sports on a Sunday morning. We're going to get into St. Louis City SC. Lutz Pfannenstiel will join us at 11:15. We'll talk to Mo. We'll talk to Bernie. We've got everything you need as we get you up to the noon hour here on KMOX. So don't go anywhere. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio continues right after the news.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than $2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
We know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Wake up informed. Wake up empowered. Wake up to Total Information AM, your morning must.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey. I'm Megan Lynch.
This is Tom Ackerman. From local news to breaking headlines to weather, traffic, and the stories that matter most, we've got you covered before your first sip of coffee. Expert analysis, bright perspectives from the people you trust. Total Information AM. Your day starts here. Mornings beginning at 5 on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Concerned about where your retirement is heading? Is it on track to meet your needs and goals? Are taxes and inflation a constant worry? Well, you can join Jerry Means for What Retirement Means to You, powered by Means Financial Group, and find out how their team can help guide you to that retirement you've always dreamed of. Tune into What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means, Saturdays at 3 on KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. More details at meansfinancialgroup.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. Days away from President Trump's planned meeting with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Alaska, pressure is mounting to include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the talks. CBS News has learned that Trump is willing to give him a seat at the negotiating table. On CBS's Face the Nation, Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S., Oksana Marakova.
If needed, President Zelensky, of course, will be present at the meetings. We have been very open about it, but let's see how this will go.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte supports Zelensky's inclusion.
If Putin is serious, and Putin then has to commit to sit down with Zelensky. He cannot do this through President Trump. In the end, it has to be, as President Trump has stated himself, a three-way conversation at least with the Europeans heavily involved.
He was also on Face the Nation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu isn't backing away from his plans to order the military to occupy Gaza City.
Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza, free it from Hamas terrorists. The war can end tomorrow if Gaza, or rather if Hamas lays down its arms and releases all the remaining hostages.
He spoke to foreign reporters today just before a planned emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council on Gaza today. A man has died and 5 others, including a 5-year-old girl, have been injured in a shooting in Baltimore. Here's WJZ-TV reporter Ashley Paul.
We're told that this all started with people sitting outside on a porch, leaning up against a vehicle, eating crab. Now, at some point, the gunfire rang out. Police say that this was a targeted incident, but at this point, they're not sure exactly who the target was.
Now to the decision by Democrats in the Texas House of Representatives to leave the state to keep Republicans from approving a redistricting bill. Governor Greg Abbott has moved to vacate the chair of the House Democratic Caucus leader. He was on Fox News.
Lawmakers are violating the law in Article 3 of the Texas Constitution, where they are required to act on bills because they're violating that constitutional mandate. That means they are not fulfilling their oath of office, and they can be removed from office in this legal action that I'm taking.
Also on Fox, New York Governor Kathy Hochul.
No one's buying this. Just Texas, knock it off. We'll knock it off, and let's get back to governing. But you want to play these games? We're not going to sit on the sidelines. We're New Yorkers. We fight back.
Jen Powell will make history again today by calling balls and strikes at the Atlanta Braves-Miami Marlins game. She'll be the first woman umpire to work that position in a Major League Baseball regular season game. Yesterday, she worked first and third at a doubleheader. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 11:03, we have a sunny sky and 87 degrees. I'm Brad Choate. Our top story, a concrete truck overturned Saturday morning on southbound Interstate 55 near Peevely, killing its driver and forcing the closure of the highway in Jefferson County for more than 2 hours. The Missouri Highway Patrol identified the trucker only as a 37-year-old man from Festus. Traffic was diverted onto Highway Z while troopers investigated the fatal crash. The response for applying for help through the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA, has been so high the Department of Justice's website cannot handle the traffic. But Just Moms STL has another way for you to apply. Our Maria Kina explains.
They have put the PDF on their RECA website, which you are able to fill out and print out, then mail it to the DOJ. Right now, they do not have a portal online, so printing and filling it out and then mailing it in is the only way to get the process going. There is no indication when DOJ's website will be able to accommodate the number of people applying for RECA assistance. So in the meantime, you can go to RECA-Missouri, that's spelled out Missouri, -resources.org to print out that PDF. The application also contains the specific documents that you will need to be able to qualify, along with a phone number for the Department of Justice if you have questions. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Federal investigators were back near Alton Saturday examining the scene of Thursday's fatal helicopter crash. The NTSB says the chopper snagged on power lines and crashed into a barge on the Mississippi River. On Friday, St. Charles County officials identified the two victims as 35-year-old Nicholas Fulton of Salem, Missouri, and 37-year-old Michael Cody Curry of Ashley, Illinois.
KMOX AccuWeather this afternoon, some sunshine, but also some thunderstorms moving in from the west through the evening. Most widespread activity will be west of the city, high 92. And then we clear out tonight, low 75. Thunderstorm chance tomorrow and Tuesday as well. Hot tomorrow, 94. Not as hot Tuesday, 89. I'm AccuWeather's Bill Degger on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 88 in Florissant, 86 in St. Peters, 87 and sunny. Feels like 92 downtown at the Arch. I'm Brad Choate, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back to Sports on a Sunday morning. Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman on this Sunday as the Cards play the evening game tonight. They'll finish up the series with the Cubs. And so Tom Ackerman has you covered on Cardinals duty tonight, pre and post game. And so therefore I get to hang out here with you on Sports on a Sunday morning. Glad you're along. That is Drew right over there. Drew Young is our producer extraordinaire here this morning and most Sunday mornings here for us. And we certainly appreciate all of his help and his work today as we take you through hour number 2 of the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. And we've got, a busy second hour here on Sports on a Sunday morning. First up, it'll be Lutz Pfannenstiel, and he did not appear last week. He was traveling, and so glad to have him back on the show this week. And we get to talk about a really nice City win last night. Nashville's a really good Eastern Conference team. They came in with one of the best goal differentials in MLS, and City really had a nice game last night, a complete game, got up 3-0, held on to that lead, held on to the halftime lead, which is something that City has not done particularly well on all occasions this year. I think I read Tom Timmerman had a tweet. I think it was the first time that they had a 2-0 halftime lead since the Sporting KC game, which was at Energizer Park, which of course did not go well. They gave up 2 second-half goals in that one and ended up with a draw, but not the case last night. They get the win over Nashville last night, so we'll get a chance to talk with Lutz about that. We're going to hear from John Mozeliak. He'll join us at 11:30. That's his regular time here on the show, and I actually feel fortunate that I get a chance to be here to do that because I don't know that I'll get many more opportunities to chat with Mo here before he finishes things up with the Cardinals. And we'll finish up our show, of course, as always, with Bernie Miklasz and get the big dog's opinion on many topics, including Yachty back in the dugout. We haven't really talked about that. And he was back, of course, Friday night and last night. I don't believe that he is there again today. But a couple of days with Yachty back in the dugout, I think was pretty cool. And I don't know what it is more than just sort of a maybe an olive branch, and not olive branch is the wrong word because there was no really need to extend peace. It was an offering from Oliver Marmol, and he was excited about the opportunity to have Yachty back in the dugout. Of course, he managed Yachty his last year in baseball for the Cardinals, but he was excited to have Yachty back in the dugout. He actually jumped on Camo X this week on the Gas House Gang in extra time just to chat about the fact that Yachty was coming back. And we had a chance over the last couple of days to hear from several players, Joel Pozo and Wilson Contreras specifically. I would say 2 catchers, but of course Wilson is not catching these days. But just to hear them talk about what it was like to have Yachty in the dugout. I was talking to Wilson Contreras. We had him for the pregame show for our segment, our Inside the Clubhouse segment yesterday. And good chat. It was fun. He was talking about how Yachty is taking everything in, and he was just looking at him. And then, of course, as soon as we turn off the mics, as soon as we're done, he's like, Yachty's like a snake looking at his prey. And he gives this whole description. I was like, that would have been great on air. I would have liked to heard that story on air, but he was excited to have Yachty back in the dugout. He said at one point he looked over and it was just like head exploding from there's Yachty in the dugout. And of course, those two were pretty big rivals. Cards, Cubs, 2 big time catchers in that rivalry, with Wilson obviously in the on the Cubs side, Yachty on the Cards side, and now they're in the same dugout together. But I think everybody really enjoyed it, and I think for the fans, it was fun. It was a huge, loud ovation even last night, the second night he was there when Yachty came out to deliver the lineup card. So I do think all in all, it was very cool. But I want to ask John Mozeliak about that. I want to ask Bernie Miklasz about that, just kind of their thoughts on having Yachty back in the dugout. I don't think there's any doubt that, when you have the opportunity to bring those kind of former players, superstar players, Hall of Fame players back into the mix, the Cardinals have always done such a good job with doing that. And you go all the way back to how long Red Schoendienst was in the dugout and how long Stan Musial was coming around the ball club, and the likes of Lou Brock and Bob Gibson and all those Hall of Famers. And not just on opening day when they parade them out in the red jackets, but all of the days that they do it, whether it's spring training, all of the other times that the Hall of Famers are involved. We need to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some St. Louis City SC soccer. The sporting director, Lutz Pfannenstiel, joins us on the other side of the break as the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday Morning continues from the Stiefel Sports Studio here on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. All good things must come to an end, and this is your last chance to move to the Preserve. Choose for one of our 6 move-in ready market homes or our magnificent Turnberry display at Mackenzie and Watson Road. Enjoy the many trails, lakes, and loads of wooded common ground at this terrific location. Take advantage of the tremendous savings and special 5.5% 30-year fixed financing on select homes. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles, the comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to mybobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at mybobs.com.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-311-9595. That's 800-311-9595.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
We're moving. Corks one back post. Headed now by Padelford. Chested by Orozco. Francis and Edmund. Who shoots and scores! Oh, see!
Joey Zanaboni on Y98 last night as his City wins it over Nashville 3-1, the final score at Energizer Park. Joe Pott back with you on the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. We're talking some St. Louis City SC. Again, they win it last night 3-1 over Nashville, a much-needed win for St. Louis City against a very good Nashville team. We're going to be joined here in just a bit by Lutz Pfannenstiel, the sporting director for City SC. That was Hazy Orozco with his first MLS goal, the call-up from City 2. And then it was the, our old favorite getting in on the act as well.
And we're losing. Reindeers one across the center line. Goes right side of the box. Klaus, right foot. He shoots and scores! Now that's St. Louis City soccer, baby!
Klaus banging one off the near post there for his 8th goal of the season. That puts City up 2-0. They were up 2-0 at half. They end up going up 3-0, and they win that game 3-1 last night against Nashville. Again, a really good win for St. Louis City last night over a good Nashville team. I mentioned it. This was a team in Nashville that is up in 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They're one of the best teams as far as goal differential coming into the match. I think they were at plus 16 coming into the match. So nice to see City come back out of the break and get that big win. And it is nice to be joined by the sporting director of St. Louis City SD. He is Lutz Pfannenstiel. And Lutz, congrats on the win last night. I imagine waking up today, that's a pretty good feeling to have after that game last night.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much. Yeah, pretty good feeling. It was a good game. I think it was one of the most completest game we played this season. You know, it was, as you said, Nashville, they are third in the Supporter Shield, third in the Eastern Conference. So really a team which plays some good football. And it looked like over, especially the first half, we had a lot of control over the game. We created chances. Second half, we set a little bit deeper, but still looked dangerous on the counter. And yeah, definitely good to score 3 goals in front of a really good home crowd again. You know, the penalty we conceded, I felt really sorry for Roman Bürki because it was a great save. And with the way Mukta took that run on, you know, it was, he moved his legs and the referee did the right decision to retake it. But the way the penalty was taken before is something I think FIFA needs to look into in the near future.
A lot of what is going into the last month and a half or so of the regular season, right, is development and is figuring out, I think very much like the Cardinals, looking towards the future. So to get the contributions that you get from some of the younger guys, and specifically Ozzy Orozco getting that first MLS goal, that's a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, he scored his second. He's also scored in Salt Lake just a few weeks ago from a corner kick. But yeah, having a guy come up from City 2, you know, which came from Salt Lake, was on loan before in Europe in a smaller league, and we picked him up more or less as a project in the second team. Did really well under David Critchley already in MLS Next Pro, and then coming into the first team and now playing also already in the third different position. He played as a left back, he played as a centre back, now yesterday as a right back. That just shows you, especially when he came to our defensive line, that we had too many players missing. Now the injured players coming back, which does help us a lot, to be honest, to get that structure back, or to get the confidence back, and being now able to also field our 3 new players, which we signed this summer transfer window, had a good impact yesterday on this game.
Yeah, one of those, Falou Fall, makes his MLS debut for you last night. Just your impressions of how he was and you know, the impact he made.
You know, a left-footed center back to find, it's not that easy. That's one of the hardest positions in professional football. So we put a lot of work in there to get a player in which directly can replace Joachim Nielsen, which was put out last week after having a really bad time here with injuries from day one. And Falou Fall, yeah, physically very good, you know, strong, but also a good left leg to open lines. I think the game yesterday, he was man of the match. I think he deserved that because he defended really well together with Timo Baumgartel. They looked very solid, strong in the end, very physical. So definitely a player which is only 21 years old, and you know, I mean, he still will make some mistakes. He's still in the development phase, but seeing that what he did also against Aston Villa in that short time he played in the friendly, and now at his debut, gives us a very good feeling for next season.
Lutz Pfannenstiel is the sporting director for St. Louis City SC as they get a 3-1 win last night against Nashville at Energizer Park. Klaus gives you his 8th goal, but I think as important on that play, Edward Leuven gets his 25th assist in all competitions, but his 20th regular season assist, first in City history to reach that plateau. I think we know what he means to fans and how important he is, but nice to see a milestone like that for Leuven, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, Edu, the way he performs week in, week out, if he's fit, and also if he really does so well considering his personal situation. That was a great game of him yesterday. I thought he was that leader what we really need in midfield, like being very verbal, being very supportive to all the players around him. And then he has that skill to play that deadly pass, have that great assist, for the second goal with Klaus. But also when Sam Bing scored, also he was involved there with a good pass to Simon Becher. So when Edu is on the field, if you're looking through all the stats we had since we exist, with Edu on the field, we are a different team because his vision and his way of controlling the midfield gives us a lot of mileage and a lot of class. And it's just great to have Edu on the field again.
I was talking about kind of development, and there's that preparation for the future as well. There's certainly a balance that goes on right there. I heard David Critchley, talking in his midweek press conference about the fact that, look, this team is not mathematically eliminated from postseason competition, and there is a balancing act that has to be played with continuing to push in this 2025 season while also looking at the long-term future. Can you just talk about that balance and maybe what you're looking at, what you're evaluating as you look at, yes, success in 25, but also preparing this franchise going forward?
Yeah, I look at the table. It's clear that it's very difficult to still manage to sneak into the playoffs. We are aware of that, but we need to think from that point from week to week. Try to win as many games as possible. And you saw some miracles in professional sports, in all different sports. So we are not eliminated yet, and I mean that's something we definitely hang on and we work for. But at the same time, I think it gives us opportunities to now have been active on the transfer market to sign only really younger players to try to also prepare already for next season to see. We have lots of players on options. Who are we going to keep? Who are we going to let go? So it's a way that the players, it's up to them to show themselves, to prove themselves to the coaching staff and to myself. And I think that's a great advantage for us at the moment. Also giving youngsters opportunities. You mentioned Orozco, but also Makai Joyner coming on yesterday. Being an outstanding player in MLS Next Pro, scoring left, right, and center. And yesterday, getting some minutes again against a good team like Nashville and had an impact. So that's great to see. So. Yeah, I do look at it as a clear vision, what's possible and what do we need to adjust for 2026. For me, it's very important to have a healthy squad. That was always the key in the last 2 years, which gave us trouble. So that's important to look at. And then, of course, try to find areas where we still need to improve, where we need to bring in new players. And that was now part one of the puzzle in this window. But then definitely for January, there still will be lots of things need to be done that we just have a strong squad for next season.
Lutz Pfannenstiel is the sporting director for St. Louis City SC. You mentioned Makai Joyner makes its 6th appearance with the team last night. Can you kind of explain what that looks like going forward for Joyner and maybe what the future holds for him?
MLS rules when it comes to calling players up, it's pretty complicated. But so that was his last official call up now for this season. So there is still ways and mechanisms we can pull to give him more minutes in the first team. But at the same time, giving him that experience is very important. But we have an MLS Next Pro competition as well. Makai is really young. That's a player for the future. I see him very much getting lots of minutes for next season for sure. I mean, that's an academy player, a homegrown player, which we have a lot of hope for, that he will be a big player for us in the future. But with Next Pro going really well, being number one at the moment in the country, and there's a title to play for, I think it's very important that young players, not just Makai, but players like Tyson Pierce, Caden Glover, Miggy Perez, that they do get these minutes in MLS Next Pro, to play in a proper competition, to get that winning feeling. And you saw, 12 games unbeaten in the table, number one at the moment. Today, a big game against Colorado, which sits on 3rd. So that's also a great competition for development. And we do see ourselves as a team which wants to give youngsters opportunities, especially also homegrown local youngsters opportunities. And having already 4 homegrown players who debuted is amazing. And I think Next Pro is for us really, really important to also focus on that just as academy level. There we know the Glamour League is MLS, and that's what fans and people look out the most for. But there is also lots of work done in MLS Next Pro and in the academy.
And in reality, Lutz, your position as the sporting director, you have to specifically balance all of that, right? Building this from the ground up all the way through to, as you say, the Glamour League, MLS, but that's all under your responsibility.
Yeah, it's not just the first team, this is what obviously the public looks at the most, and that's normal because this is where the focus is on. But as you said, it's important to have like a whole philosophy in place. I think we spoke a lot in the last 5 years since I'm here about playing style and playing philosophy. I think you saw that yesterday, Joe, really well. That our high intensity game, if we're up for it, if we have a high player availability, we can play that game, and that's what our fans like. That's also, to be fair, what our fans are used to from 2023, when things went really well for us, exactly in that philosophy. And I think that's where we want to go back to be known as a team who presses high, who plays high intense football, who is aggressive, especially at home. And then winning games is an important part of that. But I think it's for us extremely important not to lose the focus that our development must play an extremely high role, even our community engagement, to give local youngsters opportunities at the youngest age. That's also part of my job, and I love that part of my job, to be honest, when it comes to not just the MLS part, but also the academy and the development part, because that's the future, and that's something which you will see in 5, 6, probably 10 years, players who walking through our ranks and make that debut in Energizer Park. I think that's what it's all about, that people create that kind of engagement with our young players, and we have so much potential in our academy. I see at the moment probably up to 10 players who really could become good MLS players in the future. And that's up to us to really, look after these youngsters, to give them the opportunities, to give them the best training possible, to give them the best infrastructure. And I think the football culture and the way people follow football here in St. Louis is amazing. It's the best in the country by a mile. And I think that's, for me, a very important part that I can give that back to the community to get the best people involved in really looking after that development phase.
He is the sporting director for St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel. Big win last night, 3-1 over Nashville. They've got Chicago next week on the road. Lutz, always a pleasure. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you so much.
That's Lutz Pfannenstiel. After the win last night, we're going to switch gears. We'll talk some baseball with the Cardinals. President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak, joins us next here on the Gray Bar. Sports on a Sunday morning. Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman. We're coming back on KMOX.
Feel like your paycheck barely keeps up with your life? At the Financial Freedom Seminar, learn how real people are building passive income and retiring early using real estate. It's all happening live in St. Louis with Lifestyles Unlimited, September 27th and 28th. You'll leave with a step-by-step plan to change your future. Text radio to 88007. That's live in St. Louis, September 27th and 28th. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros, just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Registered by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts. But there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio,
Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman this Sunday morning on the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio. We're happy to welcome on the Cards President of Baseball Operations. He is John Mozeliak. Good morning, Mo.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I am doing well. Kind of cool this weekend to see number 4 back in the dugout, Yadier Molina, in a Cardinals uniform. Can you talk about kind of how that came about, but also what's that mean to you to kind of see Yadi back in there?
Well, yeah, so he had, as you guys all know, a year ago he was going to do some work for us, but had a lot of things going on and just was not able to really fulfill that. And then this year we went into it seeing if there would be something that the time was right, he could come back and be with the club or do some stuff for us on the baseball side. And so, yeah, about a week ago, he reached out and had some interest in popping in town. And so Ollie and I spoke about it and thought it was a great idea. Obviously, you could see the energy that he brought, his knowledge, his wealth of knowledge, and just watching him, as a coach, even it was a brief 48 hours, but just seeing how he interacted with our catchers and what they were talking about. And, obviously his street cred is real. The type of player he was, how he prepared. And I think just having some of our younger players get to experience that was neat. It was neat to see. And I think he really enjoyed being back, and it wouldn't shock me if we see him again this year.
Wilson Contreras was talking to us yesterday before the game, and he said, I looked over there and his eyes are everywhere. You can see that he's just consuming everything, taking in. And he described him just as a baseball guy. So even a vet like Wilson Contreras, I think he was really kind of impressed by that.
Well, think about his career. You don't have the kind of success he does if you're not present, if you're not working towards something, if you're not intentional about things on a daily basis. And, I do think a lot of times, you kind of hear this phrase from time to time, getting to the big leagues is hard. Staying in the big leagues is harder. And when you have someone that spent 19 years in the big leagues, it's really impressive. And so he understands what it takes to understand that day-to-day grind versus, understanding the short view as well as understanding the long view for a career. And so any type of wisdom or insights he can share with people, I think that's beneficial. And for even someone like a Contreras who's been around the league a long time, still admires what you're seeing out of someone like Yadi, I think that's a good thing. And so, our coaches were thrilled to have him back, and Ollie and I thought it was smart, and hopefully we see some benefits from it.
John Mozeliak with us here on Sports on a Sunday morning. I feel like the last 2 games have kind of been a microcosm of what we've seen a lot of this season. Friday night, it seemed like everything went well. Everything fell into place. You get great starting pitching. You get a little small ball. Last night, it fell apart in the first inning and just sort of snowballed. But that's really what you get from a roster which includes, obviously, a lot of young guys. Not a real superstar, is that inconsistency. That's kind of what we've seen a lot of, isn't it?
Well, not arguing. I don't disagree with that, but I feel like what we're seeing here is when our starting pitcher goes out and allows a crooked number for an inning or 2 straight, it just becomes a very uphill battle. When you think about having success in this league, it tends to be where you have a pace, a flow of a game, and when you're already down 6-0, it's a struggle. When you look at Palante and Graceffo, I mean, they just got through 4 innings and they were probably just shy of 100 pitches combined. That's not a recipe for success. And when you talk about the sort of the pattern of the season, when you look at when things are not going right for us, it's when we're struggling with our starting pitching.
There's a balance to be struck there, and I just likened this same situation with Lutz on the St. Louis City side, but there is a balance to trying to win games now over the last month plus of the season, with also preparing this franchise for 2026 and beyond, isn't there?
No, there is. And The one message, though, is we're not waving the white flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we moved some players at the deadline, but we thought that was the most prudent decision to do so. But it really creates opportunities for others. And so really what you're hoping to see over the last 6 to 7 weeks is guys just taking advantage of this opportunity and making the most of it. And there's going to be some guys that get more opportunity than others just based on where they are in their career and what we're trying to accomplish. But my hope is that we can get healthy and we can put together a couple good wins and ultimately have these younger guys gain some confidence and let that spill over into the future for them.
John Mozeliak with us here on this Sports on a Sunday morning, and we expect Jorge Alcala to be activated perhaps today. I was referencing Derek Gould's piece last night that he had that just kind of talked about that there's the need to perhaps just get some quantity as far as the arms, but there's more than meets the eye perhaps with Alcala and just more than a 6+ ERA, isn't there?
No, there is. And you know, one of the things that our scouting staff really liked about this guy is obviously when you hear like the word stuff, has a lot of velo, has the ability to really have swing and miss in a consistent way. Obviously, he didn't have the year he was hoping for. You know, our coaches think that they can help him. And, you know, for us to try to, you know, take a shot on goal, if you will, with
very nice
waiver claim here is what we'll try. And so, yeah, we're like, look, I think we have to be realistic when you get these type of claims, but you also have to understand that there is a chance that they work out in a very positive way, and that's worth a try.
Before I let you go, do you have any update on John King? I know poor Jojo Romero, the only lefty there in the bullpen. Anything to report on John King's status?
Everything I hear is encouraging. So I think we'll probably have to have him go out at some point this week for a rehab. And then if that goes smoothly, hopefully we have him back maybe as early as next weekend.
Rubber game tonight between the Cards and the Cubs. It certainly was nice to be in a full Busch Stadium last night.
Yeah, great vibe, right? And you know, bummer that we kind of laid an egg, but it was great to see. And yeah, the energy early on was sweet, but unfortunately it just got zapped pretty quick. So hopefully tonight we see something similar and we can have a great game.
John, I always appreciate the time and the opportunity to catch up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye.
John Mozeliak with us here on Sports on a Sunday morning. Cards and the Cubs will play that rubber game again tonight. That is a night game. So if you do have, if you have your old pocket schedule there, just cross it out. It's a 6:10 first pitch tonight. Our pregame coverage here on KMOX is at 5:15. It's the Sunday night game of the week. And Tom Ackerman will take you through the pre and post game coverage for that one tonight. Appreciate hearing from Mo. We'll hear from the big dog, Bernie Miklasz, as we close out this edition of Sports on a Sunday morning. Joe Pott with you from the Stiefel Sports Studio. We're coming right back here on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at STLouisUnionStation.com. That's STLouisUnionStation.com.
The Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio.
Until very recently, until this paper and a few other groups in the world have sort of developed approaches for T-cell malignancies, there was no hope for patients who relapsed. There were no effective therapies. This is a way of treating these patients that would normally have no other recourse.
For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Charlie Brennan with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. What can people expect when they visit one of your doctors at the Audiology Center?
Expect a friendly greeting and a waiting room stocked full of refreshments. But more importantly, a patient should expect that they're treated on an individual basis. We are not retail, and we pride ourselves on our medical model. Each hearing aid is catered towards each patient's unique needs. Expect a full history intake where we get to know you and your personal needs. And then we'll complete a full battery of tests where we can adequately diagnose your hearing health. We want you to understand those results right away. So directly following your tests, we're going to go over everything extensively. Finally, at that time, we'll develop a customized treatment plan built around you as an individual.
The Audiology Center, 3 locations in the St. Louis area, 636-441-7470. The Audiology Center, STL.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments, including pills, chews, and more, 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey, this is Debbie Monterey. Join us for the next author chat with Book Chat with Debbie Monterey and St. Louis Public Library. Our next guest is Karen Slaughter, one of the world's most popular and acclaimed storytellers. More than 40 million books sold, including her Will Trent series, which is on ABC, and Pieces of Her Heart, the #1 Netflix original series starring Toni Collette. Yeah, it's coming up on Monday, August 11th at 10:30 on Book Chat on Facebook.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Back in our final segment here on Sports on a Sunday morning. Joe Pott in for Tom Ackerman this Sunday morning. Bernie, I think about this all the time, but I gotta get some Born to Run to play when we bring you on.
Well,
the old Bernie
that'd
show.
be fine, but no reason to put pressure on yourself with that. So, because I'll probably, me being a big mouth, I'd probably talk over it anyway.
Well, Bernie joins us here in his regular spot on Sports on a Sunday morning, and Bernie, Drew is trying to take my thunder here, but did you like Kevin Yachty back in the dugout over the weekend?
Yeah, I thought it was cool, and it was good to see him. It's good to see any of those. Well, I mean, he's one of the great players in college. Excuse me, he's one of the great players in the history of the Cardinals, and probably it commands as much respect in retirement as, this is not meant to slight anyone else, because the Cardinals have had a lot of great players who have retired, but Molina and Pujols, in terms of, among living Cardinals, and Ozzie Smith, I mean, those three guys just command enormous respect in the game and enormous respect among Cardinals players and everyone in that organization. So to have them around, it's always a boost to the morale. And Joe, to me, it also serves as a reminder of what Cardinals baseball is supposed to be like. And it reminds the younger players that there's an obligation basically to carry that torch and to do their part, the very best they can do to get the Cardinals back to higher ground again. And I just think that that's a valuable message. It's an important message to send. And just his presence sends that message. He doesn't have to make a big rah-rah speech. Like I say, he's living history. He's living history. I mean, he really is. And so when you can have living history in your own dugout, it's only for 2 games, but I thought it was cool.
And Wheels said it last week, but kind of shows, Ali pretty comfortable, right? To have Yadier Molina there next to him.
Yeah. Ali Marmol has handled a lot of this stuff exceptionally well. And even the fact that I said that, people are going to be getting mad at me. But if you think about the almost impossible situation he's been in, with the Cardinals in a state of transition, they're in a flux. There was a sudden and obvious end of an era. His first year as a manager was the end of an unbelievable era in Cardinals baseball, and the end of an era for a team that has won as much as they did. The end of an era can be really hard and really thankless. And it's funny because me and many other people complained about, well, John Mozeliak had a great run earlier, but he's been in kind of a slump. And it's like, look at the rosters he's put together. The rosters are kind of mess. Boy, they lost their way as far as they don't develop young starting pitchers anymore. They let this fall apart. They let that fall apart. Bill DeWitt doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Well, my answer to the people that will tell me that Ali Marmol is like the worst manager ever. Well, you believe that ownership has failed terribly, and you believe John Mozeliak has failed terribly. So why would you expect the manager to win, right? I mean, Ali Marmol in many ways, is kind of like, I'm not going to call him a victim, but he's in the same situation that has led many, many, many Cardinals fans to be fed up or disillusioned or whatever. But he's the one in the hot seat. And for some reason, it's like he owns the team. He builds the roster. I didn't know that. I guess I learned something. But he's handled it with a lot of grace. He, despite what people say, he's a stand-up guy. He will answer any question, every question, tough. He'll take the heat, and he'll say what he believes. And we don't have to agree with him. I don't agree with him. I have a solid relationship with Ali, but I disagree with a lot of the baseball stuff, like over a course of time, and he knows it, but he doesn't mind it. He believes, I should be held accountable. People should ask me and bring their criticisms to me, because I'm not going to run away from them. I'll talk about it. I admire that part about him. I really do.
As we come down to the final 45 games, whatever it is for this Cardinals season, do you feel like we have gotten any answers on some of those players that had the runway this year?
Well, I think even though he hit the wall, as they say, I think Matthew Liberatore certainly is a guy that you want to move forward with. And I'm not going to overreact to the fact his last 10, 11 starts weren't like his first 10 starts, because he's never had to go full season as a major league starting pitcher. I think, that fatigue that sort of builds up when you haven't done something before, I think that's a natural progression for a first-time starter who's still young. And I think that, if you look at him and if you look at, it depends on if we're grading on a curve or not. But, I think Alec Burleson has taken advantage of it more than any Cardinal. In my opinion, like Brendan Donovan and Lars Nootbaar shouldn't be considered runway players, because they've been up here, 4 or 5 years, especially Newt, who came up in 2021. I think that, and I wrote about this and talked about it on KMOX this week. I think that there's a couple of contradictions that have bothered me. Whereas Jordan Walker, the Cardinals are out of any kind of, well, I shouldn't say that, they're 4.5 out, but you know what I mean. The Cardinals kind of folded their cards, so to speak, when they made those trades. And yet, to me, that's the rest of the season, Jordan Walker should start. Unless he's got some kind of ailment or whatever. He just should start. There's no reason in the world to have him in the dugout. And Nolan Gorman, despite, when the Cardinals were telling us about runway, the two players they mentioned the most were Walker and Gorman. And Nolan Gorman, despite the fact since late May, he leads the Cardinals in slugging and he's second in OPS. He doesn't strike out as much like compared to previous years. His swing and miss rate is down. I mean, all of the markers are favorable in terms of his own progress. Why does he have – last year he had over 400 plate appearances. This year he's a little bit over 200 plate appearances. So I'm sorry, how is he on the runway exactly? He's going to wind up with fewer at-bats this year. I know he's on the IL a couple times. I know that. But that still wouldn't – just say he never was on those the IL days that he missed. He's still not going to have, even if you would add them, he's still not going to have as many plate appearances as he did last year when he was at his absolute worst. So I don't understand that. I don't understand the Walker and the Gorman thing. But I think, listen, they're learning a lot about their young relievers. I think it's good that they let Victor Scott play. Me and our friend and your friend and colleague, Kevin Wheeler, and I disagree on that one a little bit. And yeah, they're going to have to start to see some offense from him. But that is a true runway player. They absolutely did just let him play. And we could think of some other examples too. Ivan Herrera, I think they already knew what they had in him. But yeah, to play him more, despite those two injuries, to get more of a look, they got to be happy with that as well. I think that all things considered, they've got to be pleased over Michael McGreevy, just the way he conducts himself, his professionalism, his maturity, the way he battles when he gets in trouble. And he's got some stuff. He really does. So those would be my thoughts, and I'm probably leaving somebody out, but I hope I cover most of that.
Do you think that we're seeing an Andre Palante, the same kind of thing you were mentioning with Matthew Liberatore, that he's just running up against it? He was going into last night, he was already over his career high in innings pitched.
No, I don't, because he's been on the starter track for a while now, and he made 21 major league starts last season, and he pitched much better. And even in spring training, he wasn't quite as robust with his stuff, and his velocity was down a little bit. And listen, I admire Palante because he grinds. He absolutely grinds. He does not have the kind of pitching profile that's going to lead to any kind of easy success. He's got to be almost perfect in like his location and getting all those ground balls. Like he can't afford to miss because frankly, his stuff's just not that good. So with him, it's become a thing, and I think all fans would agree with this, where each start you really don't know what to expect from him. And, that's not a good thing, right, for a starting rotation. You really can't count on him. You can count on him having a big heart and him competing his tail off and all that. But his stuff, you just never know if it's going to play on a particular day or not. Really, really inconsistent. So if this was a runway season for him, I don't think he would be considered a success. That's just me. Maybe other people disagree with that. I think they got to do better is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And when somebody asked me on the postgame show about the rotation going forward, and I said, I think there's a lot up in the air, and Liberatore and McGreevy were the two I mentioned. And other than that, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is. And I assume Sonny Gray will be back.
Sonny Gray.
Listen, the way Greg Matthews, not Greg Matthews, him going back to the 80s, the way Quinn Matthews has gotten things lined up again, he's pitched. It's really exciting the way he's pitched for a while here, especially the last two starts where he's not walking people and he's striking guys out all over the place. I think it's reasonable to expect that Quinn Matthews will be in that rotation next season. I think McGreevy will be, and then a wild card factor is Liam Doyle, because I do think he's going to be a guy who's quick to the major leagues, just the way Michael Wacha was back in 2012 when he came up in 2012. I think I always get confused, but when he came up in 2013, for sure, I think that was the year he came up. And look at the impact he had. So Liam Doyle could be a really big component in this, because if you got Matthews pitching well for a rookie pitcher, you got Doyle pitching pretty well. They'll take some lumps and all, But if you got those guys installed in your rotation next year, to me, that represents a huge step forward because they're both guys that you drafted and developed and have shown real ability.
And guys that are a little bit outside of the mold of what we see from the previous regime, if you will.
Right. And I really love what they did in the draft because they were pursuing a type of pitcher, a style of pitcher. And even though those pitchers are a little, they bring more risk because guys who throw 98, 99 have more elbow injuries and things like that. Sometimes they can't control their fastballs, things like that. But their upside is much, much higher than when you draft a steady stream of like pitch to contact guys. That's really hard to pull off now in Major League Baseball. And the Cardinals have too many of them. And you really need to have more swing and miss. You can't rely on your defense to be superheroes every single night, because the ball's always in play. So they really went out and tried to draft, they did draft several guys, not just Doyle, who have really, really, throw really, really hard, and they have swing and miss, and they have the kind of those components that the Cardinals are looking for. Same with some of the guys that they got in trades at the deadline.
Jorge Alcala as well, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call. When I heard they claimed him and brought him in, and I kind of shrugged. But once I started looking into him, and me, and I'm a numbers nerd.
Yep.
I love to dig into stuff. This dude throws 97, and he's got some secondary pitches that are okay. I think he needs a better one. But I'll be really quick with this. The thing that jumped out with me in 2024 for the Twins, if you go by adjusted ERA, which adjusts for league conditions, is it a high-scoring year? In other words, is the ball juiced up and is it flying out of the ballpark? It's adjusted for league conditions and also ballpark conditions. So in 2024, he was 37% above the league average in terms of adjusted ERA. He came back with the Twins, and he was terrible for the first couple months, and they traded him to Boston, right? And then after that, he was 30% above league average with adjusted ERA for the Red Sox. So this guy in the last 2 years has shown that he's pretty good.
Well, we shall see soon. Bernie, always a pleasure. Thanks, man.
See you, buddy.
Bernie Miklasz, that's it for Sports on a Sunday Morning. Joe Pott, keep it here on KMOX.
Assumption Greek Orthodox Church seeks a Greek Orthodox priest for our parish.